I'm back with a brand new movie review. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Jungle Cruise, which stars Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt. This is the newest Disney ride turned feature film from the House of Mouse. And let's find out if this film is any good. All right, I did actually order this movie off of Disney Plus, their extra, I forget what it's called, the extra, it's some access that I can get. I paid $30 extra to see it at home. I have my own theater, and sometimes I get a better experience here at home than I can at an actual movie theater. And with 6 of us in our family, it was a lot cheaper for me to do that than haul my family to the theater. So I opted to do it, and we watched it this evening. And yes, let's talk about this movie. For the most part, I love the movie. Here's what was really good about the film. And I'm going to keep this spoiler free, and I am going to talk about something I didn't like at the very end. So people who don't care about wokeness or virtue signaling and that kind of a thing, you can log off when I get to that part of what I'm going to discuss with the film. But let's talk about what really worked first. The story. There was a lot more story to this movie than I was expecting. I did expect to go in and be entertained, but I didn't expect as deep a story as we got. There is quite a bit of history in this movie with the characters and what happens in the film. So I'm really happy that they fleshed this out to be more than just a ride. Now, it starts out kind of funny because you're going to hear, you've got Dwayne Johnson, who is a tour guide in the Amazon, and he tells a lot of the jokes. If you've ever been on the Jungle Cruise at Disneyland, you've heard a lot of these jokes, and he pretty much goes through all of them at the beginning of this movie, and it is quite hilarious. You also have Emily Blunt, and I'm going to call these two characters, by the way. He's going to be known as Skippy, and she's going to be known as Pants, and you'll see what I'm talking about when you see the film. It's pretty much how they refer to each other for the whole film. And so we've got Skippy, who is a tour guide on the Amazon, and we've got Emily Blunt, who is Pants, who is looking for something in the Amazon, something mysterious. I'm not going to go into what it is. You'll see the story itself when you see the movie, but let's say it's something that people have been searching for hundreds of years. And so she's in search of this one thing. And that's basically what this movie is. She hires him to take her to go find what she's looking for. There's Nazis in this. Well, not Nazis yet. It takes place in 1916. So you do have some Germans that are after the same thing. So it's got these two people, and there's a third person involved, Emily Blunt's brother in the film. He goes along for the ride with all of them as well, and he's got a prominent role in the movie as well. So the 3 of them go on this journey, and they are basically being chased by some Germans who are also on their way looking for the same thing. So the music was decent in the film. Well, let me go back. I want to finish talking about what's really good. The acting. This movie is like a cartoon brought to life. Okay. It's zany, it's off the wall, and it doesn't betray what it is. It is really well done, and they never betray the world that they've created. And they've really done a good job of bringing what would have normally been an animated cartoon for Disney and brought it to life. It felt like a cartoon just right there in real life. Really well done. And the acting between Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt was great. They carried this film. The banter and everything was pretty hilarious. I laughed many times throughout the film. It was really well done. And you really cared for these characters, and you got to like these characters quite a bit. And so the story and the characters were great. There were some scenes that reminded me of Uncharted, some in scope. They were epic, especially towards the end. And it was really well done. And the story and the special effects were incredible. So that's what was great. The music was the only thing that I would say was mediocre in the film. It was James Newton Howard was the guy who did the music, and he's done lots of other scores for Disney. Now, we usually have Hans Zimmer, who did the Pirates movies, and there was definitely a prominent theme lacking in the film. Not to say that the movie or that the music wasn't adequate. It was definitely adequate, but it was missing that major theme. Like if they brought back another movie for Jungle Cruise, I don't know how they would translate the music and make it memorable or make it feel like you're watching a sequel, because there's no major theme that I could pick up throughout the film, but it was very adequate, and the music swelled at the right time. It was well done. So it was adequate. Not amazing, but it was definitely adequate. So now I want to talk about what my gripe is with the film. And this is going to definitely dig in a little bit into what's going on with Disney right now and their whole wokeness. I'm going to call this stuff out when I see it in films because it is kind of shoved down your throat. It is kind of annoying. And luckily, there's only two minor things in the film that luckily don't weigh the film down too much. But you do find out Emily Blunt's brother is gay. And like, I don't know why that matters in the whole scheme of things. Like the story that he told and everything really had no relevance on the film. It didn't matter. You would have probably picked up on this by the way he acted and the way he dressed, but they have to come out and tell you, which was like, again, it's forcing it out there, which was just completely unnecessary. And then at the end of the film, there's a scene of definitely women empowerment, which is, again, it's out of place. It sticks out like a sore thumb, but is definitely there. But it's, again, it's minor. It's very quick. Here's what I'm going to say about the women empowerment. This is definitely virtue signaling by Disney. Disney does not care about the women that work for them. Right now, you have three major actresses that have starred in their films that are definitely looking at suing Disney. First, we had Scarlett Johansson come out at the end of last week saying she is suing over the Black Widow profits. And just so everybody knows what is going on with this, when they sign their contracts, all of these women, you have Emily Blunt, you have Emma Stone, who played Cruella, and you also had Scarlett Johansson, who plays Black Widow. When they signed their contracts to play these women in these films, this was pre-COVID. These movies were all in production long beforehand, and they were scheduled to get money off of the profits of the box office. Well, all three of these movies were released in theater and on Disney. And I don't even remember if Cruella was released in theaters at all. I don't remember if it was or wasn't. I have yet to see it. But I know all three films were released on Disney Plus as an extra add-on where you had to pay extra money to see it. Well, the women are not getting any profits for the Disney Plus streaming. And considering we're in the middle of a pandemic, the majority of people are going to be watching these at home through the Disney Premier Plus. And so they're not getting a profit for that. And so Scarlett Johansson definitely is suing them for sure. Emma Stone is said she's weighing her options. And now Emily Blunt is also talking about possibly suing Disney. And it's really funny because you will see Disney talk about empowering women in their films. They'll do all of this stuff and shove it down the audience's throats and do what they're doing in the movies, but they're not backing up the people that are working for them. And it's disgusting. There's no other way to put it. It's disgusting the way they treat the women. And I've heard this happen with the also the voice actresses. I'm a voice actor, so I'm kind of in tune with some of that stuff that's happening. And with what they did in the first Frozen movie, those girls barely got any money for the roles that they played. And so Disney is doing the exact opposite of what they're preaching to the audience in their films. And they're not fooling anybody at this stage. And I get sick and tired of Disney, seeing Disney do this in the films, but then not practice it in real life. You're either committed to this or you're not. And they are certainly not. It's something they expect their audiences to accept, but they're not accepting themselves. And so I hope those women are able to get what's due to them. And I hope they can get that figured out, because they're the ones that carry these films. And there is no reason why Disney shouldn't pony up and pay them. Disney has a bad habit of doing this with their talent, and it needs to stop. So the movie itself is great, and it's good for the whole family. So everybody can go watch The Jungle Cruise, enjoy the film, whether you see it in theaters or at home. You're going to have a good time. It is entertaining from beginning to end. It is action-packed, and I really enjoyed it. I would give this movie 4 out of 5 stars. The only two movies that I liked a little more than this, kind of in this genre, was the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie and the very last Pirates of the Caribbean film. I liked both of those movies quite a bit, and I'd put this third behind that. This definitely had some themes for some other films in the past, but was definitely its own thing at the same time and had a very in-depth story, much more in-depth than I was expecting. So I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Enjoy the movie. Go watch it. If you've seen it, what did you guys think of it? We'll see you guys on the next movie review. I do appreciate the support. Hey, if you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I will have more movie reviews coming up.